What is Islamophobia? Defining Islamophobia, a contemporary understanding of how expressions of Muslimness are targeted, is a comprehensive report that amplifies what Islamophobia is, what it isn't, and why it matters. The report expands upon how Islamophobia has been defined by the APPG on British Muslims and establishes a framework of reference that helps determine what does, and does not, constitute Islamophobia. It addresses key concerns and objections that have been leveled against the definition through a series of expert contributions and, importantly, looks at how we can operationalize this most preeminent definition of Islamophobia so as implement practical measures to tackle Islamophobia across civil society. APPG definition. Islamophobia is rooted in racism and is a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. This definition of Islamophobia was developed by the All-Party Parliamentary Group on British Muslims, and is widely endorsed across Muslim communities, political parties, and civil society. Islamophobic views in society. Conspiracy theories about Muslims are well established within a section of British society. These often play into Islamophobic tropes, and are seen to be propagated by the far right. Polling on the opinion of Britons on Muslims and Islam has found 18% believe Muslim immigration to this country is part of a bigger plan to make Muslims a majority of this country's population. 32% believe there are no-go areas in Britain where Sharia law dominates and non-Muslims cannot enter. 31% of young children believe that Muslims are taking over England. The average Briton believes 15% of the population are Muslim, actually it is 0.5%, and that Muslims will make up 22% of the population by 2020, forecast at 0.6%. There are a series of worrying social attitudes about Muslims. 22% had negative feelings towards Muslims. 33% believe that equal opportunities have gone too far when it comes to Muslims. 43% concerned if mosque built near them. 22% concerned if Muslim family moved next door. 30% would object to their child visiting a mosque. 58% blame the media for the rampant Islamophobia in UK. 47% would not be willing to accept Muslims as members of their family, the worst figure in Western Europe after Italy, 57%. Whilst the prevalence of just views in society is problematic, it becomes dangerous when it leads to discriminatory and prejudiced behaviour towards Muslims. Islamophobic hate crime. Conspiracy theories about Muslims are well established within a section of British society that is unfortunately not insignificant. 18% believe Muslim immigration to this country is part of a bigger plan to make Muslims a majority of this country's population. 32% believe there are no-go areas in Britain where Sharia law dominates and non-Muslims cannot enter. 31% of young children believe that Muslims are taking over England. The average Briton believes 15% of the population are Muslim, actually it is 0.5%, and that Muslims will make up 22% of the population by 2020, forecast at 0.6%. Islamophobia in the media. University of Cambridge ESRC Roundtable research has concluded that mainstream media reporting about Muslim communities is contributing to an atmosphere of rising hostility towards Muslims in Britain. Since 2006, academics have observed how media coverage on a global level has represented Muslims as underdeveloped, illiterate, homeless, and orchestrators of failed states. The Centre for Media Monitoring, CFMM, a project of the MCB, has been set up to improve the quality of reporting of Islam and Muslims in the media through constructive engagement. Analysis conducted by the CFMM between October and December 2018 found 59% of all articles analyzed associated Muslims with negative behaviors, over one-third of all articles misrepresented or generalized about Muslims, and 43% of all broadcast clips associated Muslims with negative behavior. Terrorism was the most recurring theme in reports relating to Muslims and Islam. The way the media reports on Muslims and Islam affects many Muslims in their day-to-day lives. By building an evidence base, CFMM is able to share areas of concern with the media, regulators, policymakers, and politicians, as well as suggest ways forward. Islamophobia in political parties. Islamophobia, and indeed all forms of racism and hate, have no place in politics and political life. Regrettably, Islamophobia is found in all political parties, though it is undoubtedly more prevalent in some more than others. All political parties must not tolerate any form of hate, and must employ robust internal mechanisms to investigate incidents of racism and suitably reprimand offenders. More examples of Islamophobia in political parties can be found in Section 4 of this report. Islamophobia is more prevalent in the Conservative Party than any other political party in Britain. It is a widespread, institutional problem, and it infects the party at every single level. The MCB has found Islamophobic incidents among cabinet members, MPs, advisors, councillors, and members. In May 2019, the MCB called on the Equality and Human Rights Commission, EHRC, to investigate the Conservative Party over allegations of Islamophobia, submitting evidence against over 100 members. The MCB renewed its call to the EHRC in March 2020 with an updated dossier of incidents involving over 300 individuals in the Conservative Party. Examples of Islamophobia include Dominic Cummings, Chief Advisor to the Prime Minister, had overall responsibility for the Spectator website when a controversial cartoon of Prophet Muhammad with a bomb in his turban was posted, with a caption feeding into the false, far-right, Islamophobic trope about a Muslim takeover. Andrew Sabisky, former advisor to the Prime Minister, questioned in a book review whether a growing Muslim population could be countered with violent resistance, using a discredited statistic. Andrew James Tagg, former Calderdale councillor, called for unconditional surrender by Muslims, labelling Muslims as brutes who beat, kill and maim young women. Thor Holland, chairman of Leighton and Wanstead Conservative Association, called for Muslims to be banned. Sandy Lancaster, a party member, called for Muslims to be thrown from bridges. Lisa Gilfillan Johnston, also a party member, called for Muslims to be forcibly sterilized. Islamophobia in the workplace. The Social Mobility Commission found in 2017 that Muslim men and women are being held back in the workplace by widespread Islamophobia. Despite finding a strong work ethic and high resilience among Muslims that resulted in impressive results in education, the Commission found this did not translate into the workplace, with only 6% of Muslims breaking through into professional jobs, compared with 10% of the overall population in England and Wales. Unfortunately, Islamophobia overshadows many areas of British life, particularly in terms of employment. A job seeker with an English-sounding name was offered 3 times the number of interviews than an applicant with a Muslim name. 1 in 5 Muslim adults in full-time work, compared with 35% of the overall population, with Muslim men and women being held back in the workplace by widespread Islamophobia, racism and discrimination. Applicants from minority ethnic backgrounds had to send 80% more applications to get a positive response from an employer than a white person of British origin. The researchers said the high levels of discrimination from countries with a sizable Muslim population echoed strong anti-Muslim attitudes recorded in recent surveys. Muslim men were up to 76% less likely to have a job of any kind compared to white, male British Christians of the same age and with the same qualifications, Muslim women were up to 65% less likely to be employed than their white Christian counterparts.